Joe Compton, live from Park City, Utah, here at the Slam Dance Film Festival on its 25th anniversary. And we're enjoying all the festivities, and we're going to highlight and show you everything that's going on here at the festival. And one thing that I know that holds true in our second time being here is that it's always time to go indie now.
The fella, he's British, and he first showed up at Slam Dance wearing a loser hat. Seriously, he was a producer of a film called Loser. He had a loser hat. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Peter Baxter has kept this going.
Thank you very much for your great films that we've seen this week at Slam Dance. Thank you very much for showing us the raw, authentic, true voice of independent cinema. You're all winners here tonight. You're all part of the Slam Dance family. And together, as Dan is saying, for 25 years, the reason why Slam Dance exists is because of all of us here tonight, by filmmakers, for filmmakers. It's you that make Slam Dance go. We don't ask for permission. We answer to no one. Each and every one of you. Each and every one of you has, can, and will shape our cultural future. And you do that by not only showing your films and all those great things that are going to come out of that for you, but by joining this community and coming back and giving of yourself to help shape the next Slam Dance to come. So congratulations to you all.
Hi everyone, it's b.Taylor. I am reviewing an indie game. It is called Seeker. It's from Sheer Studios, and it is the developer's first game. And for a first game, it's not too bad. Now, basically, the whole point is to guide this kind of goofy-looking green dude. It's like a guy wearing a green screen outfit around this vast sort of landscape, and collect stars that he'll need to use to get home. Now, if you don't want to do that, it says right in the description box, if you don't want to do that, then you can try and find the Easter eggs the developer hid. I haven't tried that. If I want to play a game, I'm going to get to the point. It's the guy's first game, and it's surprisingly fun. It's not a great game. You get what you pay for, and it's free. You have to put up with some minor glitches here and there, but really it's nothing too bad for a free indie game. And like I said, it's this guy's first actual game. So all in all, it's not too bad. And the reviews have been very positive. The water for a first time game is really nice. It's reflective, it ripples, it looks like water. The forestry and the other scenery kind of harkens back to the first PlayStation graphics. So there's a little bit of nostalgia there, I guess. I don't have a ton to say on the game because it's pretty simple. It's not complicated. There's a little getting used to, basically the green guy that you're controlling because he looks goofy as hell. But it's fun. It's cute. It's cited as being casual strategy. There is strategy involved, but it's not super complicated. You're looking for gold stars, really. So, and they're pretty big. So, Not too hard to find. The Easter eggs, I'm sure, would be much harder because usually there's history behind something. Therefore, there's knowledge. There's an expanse of information to go on that might give you an idea of what to look for. So I'm not really sure what makes these things Easter eggs, unless they're literal Easter eggs. But I doubt that. So I imagine they are pretty hard to find. If you have a lot of time in your hands, go for it and try and find those Easter eggs. Or you can sort of have like a dip in game like I did with it and just here and there play it and try and find those stars. All in all, it's a good game. I would give it a 3 out of 5 because it's cited as strategy, but it's not that complicated. Check it out. It's fun. Peace.
Ready? Go! Jump! Jump! 10-point bonus. Look out! Power up!
Hello and welcome to today's review. I'm Julia Allen and I am doing the review on the sequel to the book I first reviewed here on GoIndieNow, which was Rebekah Jonesy's Moss and Clay. So the sequel to Moss and Clay is Clay and Blood. So let's start with the blurb. Gillian Gilchrist has no time to rest after completing her first mission for Queen Mab and the goddess Danu. There is still the cleanup to do, and that's how she finds herself following a trail of devastation left by a rogue fae. Somehow this one moves through the trees without leaving any trace of its passing, except for the tattered and bloody clothing of its victims. In the dark woods, Gillian can't tell if the culprit she's tracking is insane, sick, or simply acting out its true nature. But she knows that the only way to find out is to track it, capture it, and question it. Unfortunately, that means following the scent of the victim's blood soaked into the soil. So let's get started. I really loved Moss and Clay, so I was very much looking forward to the sequel and continuing the series with Clay and Blood. It follows Gillian through her adventures in America. Gillian is a new formed fae made by Queen Mab, Queen of the Shadows, and the fae live under fae rule, but some have gone missing in the new world, never to return, and they are not following the rules. Gillian's mission is to bring the rogues to heel one way or another, whether that means destroying them or helping them to get home. In book 1, she confronts her first rogue fae and must now finish that mission, but in the process she comes across another one. This one leaves almost no trace of themselves or their victims, just the scent of blood in the air and some buried scraps of clothing. She must discover who this mysterious woman in white is that haunts the forest and why she's killing humans. While I loved Moss and Clay, I feel this book did step it up a notch, which I really enjoyed. Moss and Clay has a little bit of a slower build-up because we see Gillian training and learning because she's basically a newborn in an adult's body. So she has to figure out how to process her senses and how to train to be a fighter and how to use the knowledge she has from her parents' memories. And so it does take a little bit of introducing the new world to her before it really jumps into the action, but this story picks it up right away, and it packs a punch with the action. There's a good build-up to the mystery of how the fae came to be this way as well that kept me turning pages. So the writing style is easy to read like the first book and has a nice balance between action and descriptive writing. I also really enjoyed watching Gillian start to mature and feel emotions for the first time. And we get to see the building up of her relationship with her mother, Queen Mab, and also between her and her Kelpie companion, Pitch. Now, Pitch is still my favorite character that I read all last year, and he definitely delighted me in this book and made me feel all the things. So I loved also about this book getting insight into the antagonists of this novel. We get more glimpses of them and their viewpoint than we did in the first novel with that antagonist. And there's also more subplots to the story to add complexity and kind of make those connecting links to what's going to happen later on in the series. So I really enjoyed the sequel to Moss and Clay, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of the series coming out. If you're looking for a new read that is exciting and fun to figure out, then definitely check out Clay and Blood by Rebekah Jonesy. Thank you, and have a great day.
Hello there, everybody. My name is Marc Watson. I'm from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and I have just released the second of my Catching Hell duology. This is Destination. Destination is a science fiction fantasy epic about two friends who are separated by powers that they have been taught to fear and the quest that they go on in order to seek their revenge. Today I'd like to read you a little piece of the prologue from Destination. It starts us off with a character who is very important to this entire story by the name of Crystal. Cutting Away a Piece of a Whole is its title. There was once a beautiful tower here. It rose from the flowery meadow and stretched so high into the sky that some swore that it had no end, a creation of the ancient, powerful ones. They were wrong, of course. It had an end, and at that precarious top was a room of solitude where the sprightly entity known as Crystal Kokuo had sequestered herself for more than 800 years, seeking a place of peace and zen in order to find an answer to the question her beloved father had given to her. How can mankind maintain and serve the balance? Her lover Ryu had finally passed away by playing chicken with death and actually winning. She had seen the true extent that humans were capable of reaching. She had seen embracers reach unimaginable levels of power, be it for good or evil. And all the time she had been assured that in the end, everything still dies. Death had been the great equalizer. It was the balance keeper in all the universes. But then Ryu had played the game against the Dark Stranger, and death miscalculated both her lover's power and his resolve to end things, regardless of the consequences. Yes, Ryu was still dead after all was said and done, but it was on his terms. Reasons didn't matter to someone so determined. She remembered that day so well. She had been in her haven at the time, not in the tower. Her haven was her most perfect place in the world. It was so close to where she had been raised and loved so purely by her mother and father, where she had been taught to be a warrior in the service of the balance. Her haven was also an unwitting protective shield against the horror Ryu had created with that gross and destructive wave of power that had erupted from his mind. The wave of unbridled power swept the world, and suddenly the rules didn't apply. A human man had become more powerful than the governing forces of the universe. He had battled death, and death had flinched in a most spectacular way. The lives it cost were immeasurable. If not for the dumb luck of being in her haven at the time, she had no doubt that she, his oldest friend and most trusted confidant through the ages, would have been one of them. After that point, when her period of mourning was over and every tear she'd ever cried was multiplied 1,000 times, she returned to the tower to feel the real world for what it was, hide herself from her feelings, and shield everyone from her power. After all, with the death of the original Ryu Jin, wasn't she now the most powerful embracer that there was? Although Ryu's son may argue that point, she knew that she could very well become a threat to everything she loved, and eventually she was simply alone in the sky. Once again, my name is Mark Watson. This is Catching Hell Part 2, Destination. I hope you enjoy it.
Hi everyone, I'm Karina. I am the author of the young adult fantasy romance Illusional Reality. It's a duology. The second book, the final book, the concluding story that will answer all the questions from book 1, was released on the 1st of January 2019. And I'm here now to read a little bit from my new release, Illusional Reality, The Quest. I'm going to start with reading the blurb so you get an idea of what the story is about. When Hattie notices a Tessinian crystal glowing, she knows she must stick to her word and return to her homeland of Thaya. Knowing her kinsman needed her, there was no hesitation, even though there was more to lose than just her life. One more prophecy was given to inform the reader of oracles that only Thaya could stop the war and save not just her people, but the rest of Numac from Kovon's psychotic future plans. Along with 3 other companions, Thaya is sent on a perilous quest to locate a dark crystal which holds an evil known as the Dark Force. The group are tried and tested throughout the journey by monsters, death and courage. New friendships will be formed and others lost. Thaya's power becomes stronger and the second will threatens to take over her mind, body and soul. A terrifying surprise awaits for them in the city of Helcon. Will they survive? Will Thaya return to Tessinia for the final showdown with Kovon? Find out by reading the thrilling concluding part of Illusional Reality. A desert of gold sand lay in front of them, and it seemed to stretch for miles. There was no sign of vegetation or life, and it looked endless. Sommel swallowed hard, and he looked at the sea of sand. My friends, the desert is not as big as it seems. The mountain range of Klon is not so distant, Thaya assured them. Only she had no idea how long it would take to reach the mountains. She refused to inform the others of the terrifying vision she'd had of Kovon and his armies attacking Seldor Cavern. She took it as a warning of what would be should she fail, and refused to wait until the heat abated before crossing the desert. There was nothing she could do for her kinsman now except complete the quest. It was imperative that they get to the city of Helcon and find the Dark Eye. If this wasteland is likened to a desert, then the mid-light will convey with it immense heat, she said. Discard all baggage that is not required, bear only supplies and necessities. If we do not halt often, I hope to arrive at the mountain range of Klon ahead of the Trill Moon. Omad was adamant he was not going to abandon his cape, no matter how hot it became. Sommel carried the only pack which contained food and drink. They travelled for maybe 30 miles when Thaya sensed danger. Only there was no sign of a threat. Stay aware, for I believe we retain company. They looked around and waited, alert. The sand before them rose into a shape of a hill and moved towards them at such a speed they had no time to prepare for it. From about 10 metres, it stopped and showed itself. Its head was all they could see at first, even that was terrifying. It showed a circle of 100 or so slimy, sharp teeth as the creature snarled. Slime dripped from one tooth to another. Its head shook as it let out a high-pitched scream. Thaya, Sommel and Omad fell to the sand with their hands pressed to their ears, When the screaming stopped, Thea stood up. Initially, she thought it was just a huge gaping mouth with razor-sharp teeth, but a single eyeball sprung from the back of the creature's throat. It stayed there, suspended between its mouth by a thin rope of flesh, the eyeball was bright red with black sinister-looking iris. The solitary eye stared back at them, and when the eye rotated, she saw what she assumed was the creature's tongue. It looked like a Venus flytrap. She had never seen anything like it, and for a moment was transfixed. Once she got over the initial shock, she stepped in front of Sommel and Omad. Precious seconds had been lost, and she wasn't wasting any more time. "Retreat!" she ordered in a tone that made clear she expected to be obeyed. Omad and Sommel did as she asked. She didn't turn to face the creature until she was sure they were far enough away. Thea waited until the creature was almost upon her, its slimy mouth open wide, ready to chew her up. But she was going to give it something else to chew on. Lifting her arms and her palms out with her fingers pointing to the burning sun, 2 huge fireballs emerged from her fingertip. She aimed it at the gaping mouth. The balls of flame propelled down the creature's throat and into its tunneled belly. There she lost sight of it. The creature reacted with a deafening howl that shook the desert and beyond, and Thea covered her ears as a glow appeared at the end of the creature's body. And very slowly, the skin began to crack and then disintegrate. The creature burned from the inside out. The howling turned to screaming as it twisted and struggled to control the pain and the blaze from within. The sight and smell sickened Thea, and she turned away. Someone cried out a warning, and just in time to see the head of the sand monster explode. The Ticinians leapt to the ground and covered their heads with their hands. Thea created an ice shield 40 sheets thick to protect herself from the flaming debris. She came away unscathed, but Sommel wasn't so lucky. A horned spike had slashed his right arm, ripping the skin open. 2 more of the giant worms reared from the sand, while Omad aided Sommel. Thea created another ice shield to protect them, and then stepped out to face the creatures. She fired immediately, her aim directed at the creature's gaping mouth. 1 ball of flame was enough. The creatures reacted in the same way as the first, deafening howls followed by piercing screams, ending with horrendous explosions. Thea stayed poised behind the translucent shield, bracing for another attack. Whether there were only 3 sandworms in the desert or word had gotten back to the others she was not to be messed with remained to be seen. But there were no further attacks, and once she was certain that danger had passed, she then ran over to Omad and Sommel. So that was a little excerpt from the quest, which came out in paperback on the 1st of January this year, and the ebook is due to release on Valentine's Day, February the 14th. You can go over to Amazon now and purchase the paperback. Let me know if you do so, and I will send you the first book, Illusional Reality, as an ebook for free. Thank you for listening to this excerpt of the quest from the duology Illusional Reality.
You've been suspended for 200 games.
Why? You're the first guy to get into a fight on your own bench with your own coach on national television.
Think of this as a wake-up call.
You owe me rent, dickhead. So when are you gonna pay?
Just give me a few days.
Coop, get back here.
I need a favor.
What?
Go over to my house, find Coop.
But I don't know how to drive.
That's the 3rd time this week you've been late. 1 more fuck up and you're out of here. And stay away from my daughter.
I'm telling you, he's a player. He makes me look like Boy George with erectile dysfunction.
he is a better man than he will ever be.
Scoring goals and taking shots, throwing out that Luna sauce. Run the show cause we the boss, living out your dream cause I got it like.
I'm gonna destroy that asshole.
That's gay.
Yeah.
The usual?
Please.
Let's go. It's my only hope.
Hope? Of what?
Getting her back.
There's no hope of that.
Hi, I'm Nillu Nassar and I'm a writer from London. I'm really pleased to be here on GoIndieNow. I write literary fiction and my stories are set in rich settings and tend to be from the perspective of an outsider. My second novel is Hidden Colours, which was published on 3rd of December. It's the story of Yusuf, the Syrian acrobat, and Ellie, the German journalist, and how their paths crossed at the immigrant circus in Berlin.
Everyone, my name is Lynz Crichton and I'm a songwriter. I wrote this song called The Circus as a soundtrack to the book Hidden Colours, and I am just as excited to read the book as you are. Hope you enjoy the song. It's like a soundtrack, as I said, so as you're reading the first chapter, you can pop the song on in the background and have a little bit of music while you read. Or if you don't like music when you're reading, you could just read the book. But here it is anyway. All was quiet on the streets.
The scene that I'm going to be reading from is early on in the book, and it's when the circus is nearing its finale and everyone's a bit nervous. The circus is backed by Silberling, who's a German politician, and he's in the audience, and the performers are also nervous because there's been minor aggressions against the circus and they don't feel welcome. So here we go. It was time to take to the stage. In they all ran, beasts and performers alike, springing, turning, waving to the crowd, singing for their supper. Silberling, too, became merely one of the audience as the performers threw batons into the air and the goats danced and the skirts became a whir of colour. The girls threw small squares of tissue paper into the stands, which in the blink of an eye transformed into sapphire butterflies flecked with copper. The men blew into their cupped hands and bubbles emerged and floated away, growing ever larger until they popped over the heads of the audience in a burst of raindrops. "Isn't this just fantastic?" said Emir the ringmaster into the microphone in the midst of them all, his shirt straining across his belly as he hopped in excitement from one leg to another. The final moment approached, in which Emir pulled a lever that released a flurry of multicoloured foils over the audience, never failing to make the children squeal with delight. He pulled the lever, but it stuck fast. Emir tugged it again to unleash the nets at the top of the tent. An avalanche of paper balls covered in stark print came turning through the air. Emir's mouth gaped and he cried out, dismayed at the unwelcome surprise. Not one of them had noticed the change in the contents of the net that morning. The performers stuttered to a halt. The band momentarily lost its rhythm. Silberling security men emerged from the shadows. The audience clutched at the dirty projectiles as they tumbled through the air and onto laps. Silberling too unfolded his spidery legs and reached for a paper ball as if it were a fortune cookie to be read. He unravelled it, eyes hooded as he read the page, mouth curled in displeasure. Yusuf's ribcage contracted as if the air had suddenly become thinner. He didn't need to read the words. The sabotage spoke for itself, but he couldn't help himself. He grasped a ball, unpeeled it, and read, "Dirty rat." And another, "Thieves, we don't want you here." There, in the majestic tent full of possibility, oceans away from the troubles of his past, amidst the sweat and the sawdust, despite their talent and commitment, Yusuf knew the circus and its people to be pawns in a game of power and perceptions. There you go. I hope you enjoyed that. Here it is again, Hidden Colours. I hope you'll look it up, that you'll buy it, and please do get in touch to let me know what you think. You can contact me on my website. And thank you again for having me go indie now. Bye.
There you go. That was the circus. Hope you enjoyed it. And now go and enjoy reading Hidden Colours. Bye for now. The circus comes to town. When the circus comes to town. When
Oh, hi. I'm Andrew Palmer with Rocksteady University, and I want to welcome you wonderful parents and these beautiful new freshmen to our amazing school, a school that kids are dying to get into. A place where your kids can learn a higher education. Safety is our highest priority. Your children are going to find friends that last a lifetime. What's got you waiting? Join us at Rocksteady University. And don't forget, bring your bike.
Hey guys, CL Cannon here from Fiction Atlas Press, bringing you another marketing tip. Now this month I polled you guys in our think tank group, and you decided that you wanted to hear about balancing your writing time and your promotion time. Well, the first tip I have for you is figuring out what time you actually have available to you, because some people have kids, some people have spouses, some people have elderly or disabled relatives, some of you have full-time jobs, some of you have part-time jobs. So figuring out what time is actually available for you to split between your writing and your promotion is your first task. And then once you do that, you want to figure out when is the best time for you creatively to write, because I know for me, I write better at nighttime. Some people write better in the morning. So if you can divide your time up that way, you can decide, where you want to place in your writing time. As far as promotion, I think a lot of people think that you have to promote every single day and that it has to take up a lot of your time, which is really not true if done right. What I like to do is schedule things ahead. And there's several scheduling apps out there that can help you with this. I use Hootsuite and Crowdfire probably most often. Facebook also has its own scheduler built in for Facebook pages. So you can use those. And the best thing to do is pick 1 or 2 days a week that you would like to get all of that done. One thing I do to get some content is I am subscribed to a few places like tour.com. I'm subscribed to BookBub and a couple different writing related websites. So they share articles in their newsletter. A lot of times they pertain to my audience. So I will take the link to that and I will go to my Facebook page, and I'll use their built-in scheduler to schedule it out at some point on my timeline for the week. I can also put these into Hootsuite and get them to be shared on Twitter. I can also do that with Crowdfire, but I usually on Crowdfire, they will actually provide you with articles that suit your keywords, so it's easy to just kind of find stuff that's already on Crowdfire. Another thing that you might want to do, especially if you have a social media addiction like some people that I really don't know who that would be. I have no social media addiction. It's totally not me. But there are some different programs that you can download, and there's also some apps. Some of them are programs and apps that will limit your internet time. There's one called Rescue Time, Freedom, Antisocial, Focus Me, and Cold Turkey. All of those will restrict the time that you're able to access the internet and social media so that you're not spending your time on there just scrolling and posting memes and all that fun stuff that we like to do that takes away from our writing time. Now, humans are creatures of habit, and if this is not your regular routine, it might take a while to get into, but you can do things like scheduling an alert on your phone to say, hey, it's time right now, I need to start writing, I need to write for this many minutes, and here is the goal that I want to achieve, and set low goals if you need to, and work your way up. And like I said, like, humans are creatures of habit, so after a while, after you've done this, it will become ingrained into your routine, and it'll get a lot easier to say, hey, okay, now it's time for writing. Okay, I've done that. Now it's time for some promotion. And a promotion does not have to take forever even if you're going to do it every day instead of scheduling. I go on Instagram for 5 minutes a night, and I scroll down my feed. I interact with people, which is something that's really important. You need to be genuinely interacting with people to get people to follow you back on Instagram and to be interested in you. You also have to post really nice, pretty pictures, but that's another aspect of it. But being there on a regular basis and being present in people's comments instead of just their likes, it's easy to go through and like a bunch of posts, but those don't get noticed as much as when you comment on something. So there's your little bonus Instagram tip. But one of the other things that I wanted to talk about is making to-do lists. I am a list person. I am an INFJ, and I'm also a Virgo, so I'm like super organized, even though on the outside, it just appears like chaos. But I am super organized, and I love to-do lists. And you can do these on your phone. There's all kinds of apps for that. You can put them in Color Note or Evernote or anything with note on the end of it. There's all kinds of apps. But I am a paper pencil sort of person because I like to kill trees. But I don't really like to kill trees. But I prefer paper and pencil. So this is a little thing that I've picked up. It's a 7-day-a-week to-do list. I don't know if you can see, but you can put in the date and some little check marks. Sometimes I have so much stuff to do that there's not enough check marks, but I try to put the major things that I need to do on here. You don't have to have a fancy little 7-day-a-week planner, or some people have books. I had a book for last year where I wrote down appointments and things, but just even a piece of paper, as long as you remember where you put it, or a dry erase board or something that you can visually look at and say, hey, this is what I need to do. This is when I need to do it. Let's get it done. So that's it for me this month. I hope you've enjoyed my marketing tip. As always, if you have any questions, you can email me at info@fiction-atlas.com, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about this or any other marketing topics. My advice is always free, and I try to get to everybody who sends me a message or email, so feel free to contact me. All right, bye guys.
Greetings, fellow humans, and welcome to another indie music review with your friendly, scruffy neighborhood JD Estrada. Wanted to start out the year with something a bit different. And how about a band that sounds a bit like REM, Pablo Honey era Radiohead, but is in Spanish and is from Spain. MANUTEBOL, I actually know the singer surface level. Great guy, but we never got to work together even though we worked for the same company. Then he had issues with his work visa and he went back to Spain because that's how things go. But He also went back to Spain and has a new band. And I wasn't sure what to expect from them. And they have a 5-song EP that's on Spotify, YouTube, and other places. But man, I was really surprised by, I can't say the lyrics because I haven't read the lyrics, but the vocals are good. The guitar is good and nice and fun. And the drums is something that I really want to focus on. Not because it's stellar or spectacular or anything, but because when it comes to rocking, Hispanic Latin rock, the drums are usually an issue for some reason or not, except for the bands that I really like. I never had an issue with Café Tacuba, never had an issue with Soda Stereo or Gustavo Cerati, never had an issue with several, but there's other bands that it just sounds really overly produced. I enjoyed the drums, which is to me amazing when it comes to Latin rock or Hispanic rock. It's not Latin rock because it's from Spain. If you see the difference between Hispanic and Latino, it's a long-winded thing and it'll distract you from good music. Their EP, like I said, has 5 songs. They're all in Spanish, but it's good to broaden your horizons and listen to something different. This one's called Para No Gritar, so that I don't shout, or something that doesn't make me want to shout, or something on that. Probably could translate that better, but it's late. But that guitar has, to me, like a little bit of an REM vibe to it. Second song is called Miami Beach. It also, the band also has some vibes from, there's a Japanese band called The Pillows. They're actually really famous in Japan. And anyone who's a fan of anime has probably heard of them and a couple of other Japanese bands. They have certain influences and certain flavors that are similar, which is pretty cool. So yeah, why not start your year with something a bit different and a bit outside of your comfort zone, outside of the country, and across the Atlantic Ocean if you're in the US. So that's my review. MANUTEBOL from Spain. By all means, if you're in Spain, check them out. They're gonna actually have their first show in February, so I'm really pumped up. And again, this was a really lovely surprise because I wasn't sure what to expect, and it was cool. I could have had pretty decent expectations and they would have been surpassed, and that's always a pleasant thing to enjoy. So until next time, it's time to go indie now, and peace, love, and microphones.
OKUBO. Welcome back to GoIndieNow Indie Film Reviews, and today we're going to be talking about Terror Tales, a film directed by, written by, and produced by Jimmy Lee Combs. Jimmy Lee Combs is a producer and director for other films such as Hans Crippletown Talk, To the Huns, and The Beautiful Scar, and you can see his picture right here. We're going to compare him to some greats. And I know it's a little bit arrogant to compare people to greats, but I think it's warranted here just because of what he's accomplished in Terror Tales. And when you talk about story building, getting out there, we have to go back to the era of black and white. We have to go back to Hitchcock when you're talking about horror and terror and really getting people scared. And you see that in the building of the story, right? And with the world as it is now, with all the CGI and everything that's been filming, and the desensitization of people by jump scares and things like that, it's hard to find good quality stories. And that's why we have terror tales. In essence, it's our modern day creep show. So check out this first clip and then we'll get back to the story here. So, what did you think of that clip? I personally enjoyed it, and we're going to be going on to the next part here, talking about the director himself and how he approached this and how he strove for this, which, you know, talking to him, this has been an ongoing project, and I know since I've met him, he's been filming this and editing it, and I've seen the steps going through it, and you get that balance, you know, the balance of the CGI, the balance of the story, and not overdoing things so much that you really get a quality for what you're seeing. And you know, you go back to people who make great stories. Clive Barker, a great author who jumped in with Nightbreed, and you know, you'll most remember him from the Hellraiser series, but you know, Nightbreed was his baby. He directed it, he wrote it, he filmed it, and in my opinion is one of the great cult classics. So you have that here with this film, and you can see the actors are really giving their all because they care about this project. As we can see in this next clip, the way the actor just portrays the lines very, very well.
You fucking nuts! Nuts? You know, that's the second time that you've implied that I'm crazy. You wanna see crazy? Cause you ain't seen nothing yet! Slow down! Yeah, baby! Woo! Woo! Are we having fun yet, Michael?
So, you've seen 2 clips of this film, and you've kind of get an idea of what we're going for here. But I would agree with many of you out there that it is an indie film, and there are some aspects that require more development. And in this film, I think the parts that are going to mature and age well is going to be the storyline and the way they're portrayed and the way that's going to grow. As soon as this film takes off and starts bringing in more, the story, the world can be expanded on. It's like that first novel, right? You write something and you have this foundation for a world or a story where everything's happening, and then the world suddenly explodes with all these different angles. And that's what we can see building right here. We can see the world is opening up more. We can see the development is there and starting to grow more. And with that, we can see that Jimmy Lee Combs is going to be bringing us a lot more great horror film in the essence of the classics. So if you want to have a refresher course into what you're going to be enjoying, Outer Limits, Creepshow, Tales from the Crypt, Friday the 13th, all the great classic horror films and genres from the 1980s, you're going to see that here, and you're going to feel that, and that's where you're going to go with the story. So please enjoy this final clip. Very much for watching. This is Gino Kubo. You guys have a good one.
Today is gonna be a little something more. I've got a plan in mind, a special thing in store. The light bulb inside my head says, get out and play, 'cause you never feel this way. It's my lucky day, it's my lucky day. It's my lucky day, my lucky day. Don't need a pot of gold, a rabbit's foot or to be told. It's my lucky day. It's my lucky day.
Hello?
Morning, princess. Guess who?
What are you doing? Why are you here?
Just passing through.
What are you, a cowboy now?
I don't know. Just done with people. There wasn't anything specific.
Some girl you dated for like a week and a half ended up having one long middle toe and you just couldn't handle it.
Carly, things good?
Of course, yeah. Why?
Nothing.
Hey, babe.
Did you fix the dryer yet?
I called
When did you call?
yesterday.
No, idiot. I mean, what time did you call yesterday?
Why's she so mad at you?
She's always mad at me.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Well, where are your roots? What's your future?
Which do you want? Roots or future? Yeah, I'm not the type to just fall in love with everyone I meet.
Is that me?
I don't know. Just seem to fall in love a lot.
Been married for 6 years.
Right. You are married, aren't you?
You show up at my house uninvited and you do this? What is your problem, man?
I hate to tell you, buddy, I think you're scared.
I'm scared. What am I scared of?
I think you're scared of being alone.
You got me all figured out, do you?
Not really, but that part, yeah.
All right, you done with the lecture?
I'm just trying to warn you.
Hi, my name's Serge Kushnier. I am the writer-director of The Idea of Manhood, this poster that you see right here. First, I want to let you guys know that the film itself is going to have a week-long run in Tempe, Arizona at the Harkins Art Valley Theater. Super excited. It's February 8th to 14th. From there, it's going to be released on a bunch of different platforms. We're not sure which ones just yet, but all the information will be on our Twitter, our Instagram, and our Facebook, and of course our webpage, which is theideaofmanhood-movie.com. So you can check out everything there and find out how to get tickets, find out where the theater is. It's a really cool little art theater. So a little bit about the movie and the origins. I originally wrote this film as a means to make my first feature film. So I decided I would set it at my house, one location. I decided that it would be a minimal cast. And then I also decided I wanted to take place over the course of one day. Now the reason for that was it was easy for costumes. You know, you give everybody one costume and you don't have to worry about one extra thing and one extra budgetary thing. So with all those parameters and restraints, I wound up writing something that I was super proud of and excited about. I sent the script out to trusted friends and people that have read my work in the past, and it was resounding, this should be your first feature film. I decided to just set a date, set a shoot date, a first shoot date, without any cast or crew or money yet. That's a scary thing, to set a due date with nothing behind you yet, but it's a really good motivator. I started by asking my brother, who is one of the leads in the film, Jeremy Kushnier, if he would want to be in the movie, and he said yes. And from there, we started asking other friends that we knew could potentially play some of the other roles, or friends that had friends that were actors that they thought could play some of the other roles, and slowly started filling the cast. I literally searched on Google how to make your first feature film, and read article after article about how to raise money or how to find your crew. Invaluable information. One key thing that kind of got the ball rolling on the financing was I found an article about how you should try to find ways of getting local businesses involved by asking them to donate a meal or some coffee from a coffee shop. So I went door to door with a little one-page thing I wrote up about the script and about the project. And my local bar, which I frequent a lot and write at a lot, Harlem Public, wound up giving us a bunch of food for our imaginary cast and crew, which I set at about 12 to 14 people. So they donated 2 full meals, which was amazing. A coffee shop around the corner, the Chip Cup, wound up giving us coffee and bagels for every day of our shoot. So I figured that's basically like money. So I started approaching other people saying, well, we have a little bit of money and we're looking for more. I tweeted out that one-pager about the restaurants, and a friend of a friend came across it and said she wanted to invest, and it just kept on growing from there. I have a wonderful friend. Her name's Melanie Markowski. I've been friends with her for probably about 20 years, and she loved the script, and she said, I want to help you produce this. So she came aboard and wound up doing the bulk of the paperwork when it came to unions and writing up contracts, all those horrific things that I really didn't want to do. She took charge of that, and we just kept on building and finding more people together. I found my key crew on Mandy.com, my DP, John Murphy, who was incredible. He came with his whole camera package for a really good deal, and he did amazing work and was super generous with his time. And the rest of our crew just started filling in from there. It was always my mantra, I guess, or a corny way of saying, if you build it, they will come, from the movie Field of Dreams. But it was true. I started just by planting the seed, and you'd be surprised at how many people decide to come aboard if they see you, pushing the car down the side of the highway rather than just sticking your thumb out, hoping someone's going to help you. The production was a 9-day shoot over the course of 2 weeks. It was intense, super long days. We never went over on our days. It was just really well organized. I made sure that I knew what my days were going to be. I always tried to push forward. I was my own AD, which I wouldn't suggest. That was a lot of pressure and really tough. It wound up being something that we were all really proud of, and we actually won some awards. We won Best Picture and Best Screenplay at the Phoenix Film Festival, which was amazing. It was an amazing experience. Everybody at the Phoenix Film Festival was super kind and generous, and we had a great time. I hope to go back there with another film in the future. Other things I did behind the scenes, things like, I built my own silk, which was a 20-foot by 20-foot silk. I found some fabric that was on sale. I took it to my local laundry guy who sewed it together. And every morning before we would start shooting at about 4:30, I'd go out by myself because it was my house. I could go out in the backyard and hang the silk, and then the day would start. So it was things like that that saved a lot of money and allowed us to make the film for very, very little. So all in all, it was an amazing experience, something that I think I learned a lot from and will definitely help me in the future in making more films, which is always the dream, to continue to work and continue to put out your art. Thank you for watching. Again, my name is Serge Kushner. The film is The Idea of Manhood. Keep your eyes peeled and check out our website, theideaofmanhood-movie. And check out all the links that are also here on the webpage. There's the Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, all these things. You can check out our trailer on Vimeo. All right, thank you very much for watching. Again, my name is Serge Kushner. I'm the writer-director of The Idea of Manhood.
I still don't believe you just decided to do this. Something happened. What was it?
Nothing happened. Really?
Really? Something happened. Let me guess.
It wasn't anything specific.
Some girl you dated for like a week and a half ended up having one long middle toe and you just couldn't handle it. Or her teeth were too small. Or she hated Seinfeld and so you broke up with her and you once again have given up on women.
That last thing did happen once, and hell yes, I broke up with her. If you don't like Seinfeld, there's something innately wrong with you.
But I'm right though, right? It was a girl. Okay, what was it?
It wasn't the result of a girl, but I was recently annoyed by a girl.
How long were you dating?
3 weeks.
Whew, long one.
And she was too nice.
Sounds terrible.
Oh man, she was really nice. Great, be nice. I like nice, but she wasn't real. She couldn't relax around me and be herself. Her voice was weird.
What?
I don't know, affected. Not like how a person sounds when they're talking to their friend or brother. High-pitched or like, I don't know, affected.
All right.
Plus she had this insane obsession with Disneyland.
Oh, I like Disneyland.
Yeah, not enough to go there a dozen times a year and like get nervous around Goofy and shit, wearing those ears, taking pictures with characters like they're actual celebrities. She's 32.
All right.
That's weird.
Let me see a picture of her.
Ugh.
Oh, I could handle that for that.
Also obsessed with Hanson.
What?
Hanson?
Mba?
That's the one. She's seen them 20 times in concert as an adult. 4 times in the last 3 months.
All right, so you made the right move, but she's the reason for the wandering?
No, see, she's not the reason. The idea of her existing, I suppose, is part of it.
Well, what the hell does that mean?
I don't get into relationships.
I'm aware.
No, I avoid them not because I'm not interested in having someone as a partner, but because I'm not into the majority of people.
Yeah, but she's specific. She's crazy.
So I paint a good crazy picture. She's not crazy. She's a nice girl. Blah, blah. Who cares? But she is whatever the general public is.
Which is?
Which is unbearable.
You just finished telling me you like having conversations with strangers in bars.
I'm aware of the contradiction that is my mind, but I can't date people. At least anyone I've met yet.
You're pushing 40. All right, so I still don't understand.
She was a bit of a final straw.
It sounds like this girl really affected you.
No, see, she didn't affect me. The idea of her and what she represents in the world affected me.
Right, okay, so she is humanity's representative in your warped mind.
She was the spokesperson for the rest of the world. I realized she was the wrong spokesperson, but I've listened to quite a few other arguments from humanity lobbyists. Still not sold.
So?
It's the one thing I haven't tried yet. So now I wonder.
So now you wonder.
Well, there you have it, everybody. That's our show for the 35th edition of Time to Go Indie Now. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you found a new artist to go check out, whether it be a brand new movie to watch, a brand new book to read, a brand new music to listen to, or even a brand new game to play. All these artists and their links are available in the description box, so go check out everything that they're doing. And while you're at it, go check out all the producers who make a segment here on this show, because they are artists as well, and they have some great things that they're doing all over social media and all over, with their art. So definitely go check them out. And make sure that while you're here watching this show, if this is your first time with us, subscribe, like, comment, share. Every little bit helps. Everything that you do to make more people aware of GoIndieNow helps all these artists get seen and get more exposure. So help us out and do exactly that. Subscribe, like, comment. We really, really do appreciate it. And check out all our other shows while you're at it. We have a couple shows here on YouTube, the Origins series, and we also have Fandom Forum on our YouTube channel, and a bunch of other shows that we've done in the past, like Indie Insights and Sunday Fun Day. Those are all here on the YouTube channel, so check those out. And then go over to our Facebook page and check out This Week in Indies, which we publish on most Sundays. Beginning February 10th, we will be publishing one almost every week for the rest of the year, as we have a brand new addition to the This Week in Indies family with an international version of This Week in Indies. It'll be This Month in Indies International. and that will be hosted by Jen Okubo, and he'll have a bunch of great international artists that he'll talk to on a monthly basis, just like we do on This Week in Indies show each and every week here. And we're also going to be featuring more guest hosts and some really great opportunities to see and learn about a bunch of things that are going on in our indie community from the people who are creating the incredible things that they're doing. So we'll have that every week on our Facebook page, Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. I post This Week in Indies. And we also will start our coffee break 4th season, and we're doing so on Instagram TV, which I'm real excited about, and that will happen on Wednesday, February 20th. That'll be our first episode, and we'll run them until we don't have any left, until the season's over. So check that out on our Instagram page, instagram.com/GoIndieNow, and watch on our Instagram TV channel there all the coffee break episodes that you can. And while you're at it, check out our website, because where I am right now, Slam Dance, as you can see, the Slam Dance, this is the poster for Slam Dance. This is their new shirt, the 25th anniversary of Slam Dance. We will be doing a lot of great blogging. So we'll have a blog about the festival and what it's all about, and everything that I can think of about Slam Dance to say. We'll have that for you the Sunday that I return. And once this festival ends on the 31st of January, I'll come back and post all the interviews and all the great clips. You saw a few of them here in this show already, but we'll post a few more clips of what we experienced here at Slam Dance and all the interviews that we managed to get. We even have a couple that we got from across the street at Sundance this year. So all those will be up on our website, along with a little bit about each movie that we featured in terms of when we interviewed the artists. We will talk about the movies that they created that we got to see at Slam Dance as well. And you'll be able to get all that information on our website at GoIndieNow.com. And with that, everybody, that's our show. Thank you so much again for joining us. And remember that it's always time to go indie now. We'll see you again on the 36th episode. Bye, everybody.